I know what you're going to do within the next 30 seconds, which is more than likely stopping to watch this video. How do I know? Because that's what most people do. They say within 30 seconds you stop watching this video. I'm already 15 seconds in. Maybe you already stopped now. But I'd really like to ask you, today watch it till the end. Because I think the message what I'm going to share today, if we could all implement this, it will save marriages, it will save relationships, it will save our community, it will actually save the world. Our Holy Torah gives us the deepest messages of how we should live our life. And that's what I want to share today. And I think you'll be very glad you watched till the end. And if you did, if you're not glad, I apologize. I wasted a few minutes of your time. Today, if I asked you 4 months ago to wear a mask in the street, you look at me like I'm crazy. This is not Purim. We don't wear masks. But today, not only you wear masks, but many people, when they walk in the street or they go into a store and they see someone without a mask, they get upset. And they say, you don't realize you can kill a person? What does the mask do? It covers our mouth and our nose. Today we all know that what comes out of our mouth and what comes out of our nose could literally kill another person. And please cover it. But this is not something that's new. What comes out of our mouth and even our nose could kill people and has killed people and has destroyed people's lives and has caused great wars and destruction all over the world. And the greatest destruction comes from what comes out of our mouth and even our nose. And this goes back all the way into biblical times. And we'll talk about how we can stop that. In this week's Torah portion, it talks about the tragic story where Moses chose great leaders from each tribe, 12 tribes, to go to Israel. And he says, since we left Egypt in order to go to Israel, we need to find a way. How is the best way to conquer the land? God told us we're going to conquer it. Let's send spies to see how to conquer it. The spies come back. 10 of them, 10 out of 12 says, we scouted the land. No way to conquer the land. The giants and the fruits are so big and all the details what they said. And as soon as the Jews heard that, they said, oh my God, Moses, why did you take us out of Egypt to die in a war in Israel? We want to go back to Egypt. We don't want to go to Israel. So then God hears that and says, you don't trust in me that I could get you into Israel even though the people are giants there? You know what? You don't want to go? Don't go. You're not going to go. And everyone that came out of Egypt from 20 years old and above, they're going to die in the desert. And that's what happened. 2 of them came back and spoke positively. What's the story right before that in the Torah? The story right before that is the story of Miriam, Moses' sister. The Moses' sister was punished and had leprosy. God struck her with leprosy. Why? Because she also spoke bad about her brother Moses and said she was talking to her brother Aaron and said, look at Moses. Moses left his wife because he speaks to God all the time. He shouldn't leave his wife, and he spoke negative about him. So the question the rabbis ask, what did the spies do wrong? They were sent to Israel. They came back with a report. Is there anything wrong to say the truth? They got up and said the truth. We can't conquer the land. And then, what's the connection with the story right before with Miriam? What did Miriam do wrong? She also said the truth, that she was disappointed that Moses left his wife. Especially Miriam was the one that fought very hard because her parents separated, and her parents, when Pharaoh made a decree against the Jewish people, her parents separated. She was the one who got her parents to go back. So it bothered her about her brother breaking up. So the rabbi's answer, my dear friends, the answer is like this. The rabbi said, what was the mistake of the spies is not that they came back and felt a certain way, is how they came back and spoke about it. Meaning, if they came back and felt that what Moses' idea was and what God promised was something that they couldn't accomplish, what they should have done is gone to Moses, had a conversation with Moses, spoke to Moses about it, and then Moses would have said, listen, God is the one that promised us, and God is the one that does all the miracles, and they would have presented in a certain way to the Jewish people that it wouldn't cause panic. But what did they do? They went right away into social media. They right away did they went on YouTube Live. They went on Facebook Live. They right away got up and said all this and caused panic and pandemonium. The same thing is with Miriam. If Miriam had an issue with Moses, it's okay. Call Moses in and have a conversation with him. Instead of starting a group, a family therapy group, how to help Moses, and right away start talking about him, go right away and talk directly to Moses. And this reminds us, again, what comes out of your mouth and how you speak could build lives and destroy lives. And so many times you look throughout history, look at every war, look at many of the challenges in synagogues, in politics, in your own family, in divorces. Go back a lot of times, you'll see it's someone saying something to someone else, not directly to the person, and that person repeats it to someone else, and that causes all the destruction. Most of the destruction in the world happens this way. And there's so many stories, I'm sure, in your own life that we can think of, that someone said something about you to someone else without coming back to you first and talking with you. And we always have to ask ourselves, if you really care about this person, if it's your own family member, if it's your own child, you go directly to your child. You won't go talk to everyone else in town about them and talk, before you go and talk to the person themselves. And that was the mistake of the spies and the mistake of Miriam. If they had an issue, they should have gone directly to Moses. If not, look what ended up happening. Because of that approach, all the Jews that left Egypt died within 40 years in the desert. This causes so much destruction, and this is something that we have to work on ourselves so much. Putting on the mask and covering our mouth and nose is something that we also have to do in our own life. If there's someone that we want to say something, for me personally, to be honest, a lot of times I say, if I wasn't a rabbi, I wish I could pick up my phone and tell them how I really feel. And then when I'm ready to do it, I always run it by my wife, Nechama, what do you think? Should I call this person and say it? And a lot of times you say, no, you don't need to, or say it a certain way, say it nicely. But a lot of times I'm a big believer, go directly to the person and talk to them. Talk to them directly. Don't go and talk to everyone else. And unfortunately, we see this so much. Today's days, it's amazing. I could predict what you are going to put on social media. I could predict what you're going to say. How? I know what party you affiliate. If you're pro one side versus pro the other, if you're pro Republican, you're pro Democrat, you're pro Black Lives Matter, you're anti-Black Lives Matter, whatever your positions are in the thing, you're always going to post to the whole world articles that are going to make your side look good. And right away, as soon as you see something negative on the other, you'll put it up on social media right away. If you really care about the other person, you wouldn't do that. We would right away go and try to talk to the other person. Or not right away just put out things because half of the time things that we put out incorrectly or has a certain slant. What's about the nose? My dear friend, you say, okay, the mouth kills people, I understand. We got to watch what we say. If we have in general, we shouldn't talk much, but if you have an issue, talk directly to the person. Don't go around everywhere in your WhatsApp groups, in your social media groups, and all your friends, besides talking to the person directly themselves. And if you can't talk to the person directly themselves, then don't talk about it. But the question then is, what's about the nose? The answer is the nose also could destroy lives. Because sometimes you tell something to someone, or you ask someone something, you say, tell me something about that person. It could be about for hire them as a worker. It could be you want to set up someone in a blind date, a shidduch. And so tell me something about this person. I heard he's a great guy. You go, or you just make with your nose. You make with your nose, that already could destroy people. I heard this great story of this individual who was traveling with his son to another town. Because he heard there's a great girl from a very nice family, and he wanted to bring his son, he was a rabbi, to the town to meet the girl. So on the way, he stops in an inn, and he's having conversation during dinner, and the owner of the inn says, what are you doing? I'm heading to that town. He says, why are you heading to that town? He says, because my son was suggested this girl, and I would like him to meet this girl from this family. So he makes a face like with a nose like this family. He didn't say anything, he just made a nose. He made it with his nose, that's it. So this rabbi says, now I understand why the Torah tells us that when Abraham sent Eliezer to find a wife for Yitzchak, it said he had kvisas aderech. The God made a miracle, a day that should have taken 3 days, it took him less than 24 hours. Why? Because he knew that if he would stop along the way in different hotels, and every person he would tell where is he going to? This person will make a face, and that person will make a face, and it will destroy any potential shidduch that this person has. And I want to conclude with, I think, a great, great message in life. Someone once came to a rabbi and says, I have something to share with you. I have something to share with you about another person. So Rabbi says, listen, in general, one of your students, he says, in general, I don't like to listen to stories, but if you feel it's something important, you can share it to me, but under 3 conditions. Number 1 is something positive about the person. So he said, no. He says, okay, I'm still ready to listen, as long as it passes one of the next 2 things. Number 2, do you know it firsthand or you heard it from someone else? He said, no, I heard it from someone else. Okay, fine, I'm still ready to listen to what you're about to say. Number 3, is there any benefit to it in my life? He says, no. He says, I understand. It's something negative. You don't know it firsthand. There's no benefit for me to know it. Why you want to tell it to me? My dear friends, let's make sure that the mask that we need to put on now to cover our mouth and our nose, we have to make sure that it's Osher should cover not only our physical mouth, but what comes out of our mouth and how we move our nose. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom.